Alright guys, here we are with the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie discussion video as a part of the Golden Freddy Debate series. Yes, this is episode 2. Episode 1 was all the way back in 2023 and was also about movie Golden Freddy because we were talking about, if you guys remember, in the trailer, people didn't know if that was actually Golden Freddy or not in the movie trailer because the gold color on him is very subtle in the movie, so people didn't know if that was Golden Freddy or if it was just Freddy and he just got broken up or something in the trailer in the taxi cab scene. So I did a whole video about that debate, and here we are 2 years later talking about movie Golden Freddy again. But this time we're going to be talking about if Withered Golden Freddy will appear in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie or not. At the time I'm recording and uploading this video, the FNAF 2 movie is less than a month away from releasing in theaters. But let's stop and rewind for most of this video because, so in mid-2024, around June all the way up until September around, so around the time the FNAF 2 movie was announced and said to be in production, you guys might remember this, but there was some leaks going around, and the main one was that the Withered animatronics weren't going to actually appear in the movie, and that Blumhouse was just going to reuse the FNAF 1 animatronics. So the classic FNAF 1 animatronic designs were going to be in the movie, but just broken up a bit to kind of resemble the Withered animatronics. And there was a lot of community backlash, a lot of people arguing, like, why would they do this? People were saying, oh, this is really cool. Other people were really disappointed at Blumhouse, with giving hate to Blumhouse and all that. Now, most of these happened on Twitter/X, and some of these accounts have been deleted, and a lot of the posts have been deleted, so it's very hard for me to find, but I found a couple screenshots from other Reddit posts, and a lot of comments from Reddit posts from around the time. But later on, this was said to be false from another account, which is now deleted. They also had contacts inside at Blumhouse who said that the Withered animatronics will be game accurate. And it was also fully confirmed to be a hoax when the prototypes and molds for the Withered animatronics showed up as little teasers for the FNAF 2 movie. So all of that happened in mid-2024, around July to August, September. So let's fast forward to late 2024, around December, when a bunch of other leaks started coming up for the FNAF 2 movie. So a lot of these were with behind-the-scenes photos, ones of the set, and also ones relating to the actors being cast. And there was also about a leak with a scene involving Vanessa hitting Mangle with a truck/van. And that one did turn out to be true, with the official teasers and trailers for the FNAF 2 movie showing that scene and also the actors. And alongside those leaks, there was one about Withered Golden Freddy not appearing in the FNAF 2 movie, with the classic version being used instead. Now, all these leaks that turned out to be true, along with that Withered Golden Freddy one, were all said by the same person who has sources at Blumhouse. This lot of leaks spanned from around maybe a month to 3 months at most, but that Withered Golden Freddy one was one of the first, and that was in December of 2024, and then that Mangle one was a month later in January of 2025. And all these leaks were said by the same person who said the classic animatronics were going to be reused instead of Blumhouse making the Withered animatronics all those months earlier. So this source may not seem reliable, but then again, this was separate from the other leaks. This classic animatronics are going to be reused was separate. This was months earlier, all the way back in July, maybe even earlier in late June. And the other leaks from months later, alongside that Withered Golden Freddy one, they did turn out to be true, with the Mangle car scene and some of the cast being revealed. And also going to the other source that I was talking about earlier that clarified that the Withered animatronics are going to be in the FNAF 2 movie. This source, from what I can tell, they also said that Withered Golden Freddy will not appear in the FNAF 2 movie. Now, I'm pretty sure this account is deleted. I can't find them. But I saw some other people saying it was this deleted account's sources saying that this was also true, that Withered Golden Freddy will not appear in the FNAF 2 movie. And from memory, I don't think they talked about the classic animatronics being reused instead of the Withereds. I don't think they said that too. I don't think they did. From memory, they just did not talk about the FNAF 2 movie and their sources and all that. They knew a lot of details, but they just did not want to give too much away. They're very secretive and private about their sources and all that. But eventually, after seeing all the hate being sent to Blumhouse and all the arguments, they apparently said, this is the only thing I'm going to clarify and talk about regarding the FNAF 2 movie, and it's that the Withered animatronics will appear in the movie. They are making new and accurate animatronics. Now, I'm trying to be vague on who these people are because I just don't want to give away their details and have people go up to them and question them and just harass them. I don't want to do that. I'm not sure if they're still around because I know both of them they're not on Twitter or X anymore. I'm not sure if they're around on other social medias. But this source, however, they were a part of a bigger controversy relating to another FNAF leak. I'm not going to get into that, but if you know, guys, you know. I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but it was a big mess. I don't know. So that's pretty much that situation. And do I think this leak is real or not. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I don't know, because again, the sources of both of these people, they're kind of unreliable, but at the same time, they kind of are, because they did say stuff that did turn out to be true, and that Withered Golden Freddy one was bundled with real leaks, so I'm not 100% sure. And I also want to beg the question if that leak about Withered Golden Freddy not appearing is related to the old leak about the Withered animatronics not appearing in the FNAF 2 movie. And if it is, I have two possible answers for this question. One is that somewhere along the line, most likely at the sources at Blumhouse, they misinterpreted the fact that Withered Golden Freddy is not appearing in the FNAF movie and they're just going to reuse the classic animatronic. They misinterpreted that and applied it to all the Withered animatronics when that was not the case and was actually just supposed to be Golden Freddy. The second interpretation is that it's a cover-up or some sort of excuse for the old rumor/leak. They were trying to cover up the old hoax with this one and trying to say that they just got it a little bit wrong, that it's still kind of true, but they were meant to say it was just Golden Freddy and not all the Withered animatronics. So they're trying to make us think that first interpretation, when in reality they created this lie about Withered Golden Freddy being the classic animatronics to try and bring back credibility to themselves and try and just say, I got that old leak about the classic animatronics being reused wrong. I meant to say just Golden Freddy, not the whole Withered animatronic cast. I just meant Golden Freddy, not the rest of them, I swear. So basically they try to make us think interpretation 1 to bring credibility back to themselves, when in reality, no, Withered Golden Freddy will appear in the movie and they just come up with this lie to save themselves. Now to be clear, I don't think any of these accounts have ever said that that Withered Golden Freddy leak is connected to that old leak rumor, that hoax. I don't think any account has said that, but of course it might have been deleted, but I don't think it has been said. Now there is actually one more possibility, which is an alternate take on the first one, where the sources saw that the first movie animatronics were going to appear damaged in the FNAF 2 movie, but what they didn't realise was those weren't the real Withered animatronics, because in the plot, the classic animatronics are separate, or they get built into the Withereds. So when the insiders saw the 4 main cast, the classic animatronics, all damaged up and broken up, what they instantly assumed was that these were the Withered animatronics. So then when they passed on the information, they just said that, oh, the Withered animatronics are the original animatronics messed up. When in reality, that was not the case. What they saw was not the Withered animatronics. The Withered animatronics were planned from the start, but they just somehow missed the fact that the Withered animatronics were going to be game accurate and were separate from these damaged versions of the classic animatronics. And I think this makes the most sense, since they've got to explain what happened to the classic animatronics in the first movie, so they've got to appear again, like with the spirits and all that, so I think this is possible. But then Blumhouse and the Jim Henson Creature Shop, they'd have to build another set of the main 4 animatronics, since they've already got the toys, they've already got the Withereds already. That's a lot to manage, a lot to work with. How big is the budget? Are they going to be able to do it? And don't even get me started on the Easter egg animatronics and the hoax animatronics. Oh my goodness, guys, they've got a lot to do, guys, if they do those other animatronics. Gee, what's their limit? How much do they do? Oh my goodness, I wonder how many of them are going to be in the movie. Oh my goodness. I've already done a video about my predictions for the FNAF 2 movie hoax and Easter egg animatronics, so I'll leave that in the top right. I'll probably remind you again later on in the video. But with these guys on top of that, are they really going to do another set of the classic animatronics again? But part of me feels like they have to, because then how are they going to explain what happened to those animatronics? They've got to explain it. They've got to appear somehow. They've got to explain that. So I don't understand what they're going to do. So I think they will appear, but maybe the Jim Henson Creature Shop will have to cheap out on them or something. Maybe just make them costumes or something, or make them not full working animatronics or something. I don't know, but I think they will appear. I don't know. It's possible. I think it's likely. But if the Jim Henson Company has to make sacrifices and all that, would they sacrifice Withered Golden Freddy and not make him and just reuse the first movie animatronic? Because if they're making the toy Withered Classic versions of all the main 4 animatronics, plus the Easter egg animatronics and the hoaxes, that's going to be about like 15 animatronics in total. That's crazy. There's no way they're going to do that, right? Unless they only make the outer shells and costumes and slap them on the pre-existing animatronics that they already have. So instead of making a whole new damaged classic Chica, they would just reuse the original Chica from the first movie and just slap on a new costume to resemble the damaged version. Even then, that'd still be a lot to work with, trying to like replace the casings on these animatronics and all that, and just having to make these new suits and costumes already. Now, depending on the way you interpret that statement about the classic animatronics being reused and made into the Withered animatronics for that FNAF 2 movie, that false statement, it might not just be that the designs are being reused with the Jim Henson Creature Shop reusing the pre-production material, the molds, or the designs, the blueprints for the classic animatronics from the first movie and just modifying them to be more withered and all that. It might just be the Jim Henson Creature Shop actually taking the screen-used animatronics that were used in the first movie and modifying them and using those exact animatronics that were seen on screen and actually making them the withered versions, not reusing the molds and the blueprints, just taking those animatronics, those exact ones, and then making them all withered and all that. And since a lot of people interpreted it this way, this is probably one of the reasons why Blumhouse got a lot of hate when this statement came out, because basically movie history would be altered and almost destroyed, partially destroyed. And all of that was on top of the statement itself, just making it sound like that they were going to take an easy and very lazy route into bringing the quote-unquote withered animatronics to life, quote-unquote. Of course, we now know that statement was false, and a lot of effort was obviously put into bringing the withered animatronics from FNAF 2 to life. A lot of effort was put into them. Like, look at them, they look crazy, man. Now, I remember people being even confused at the fact that the Withereds were going to just be the same props from the first movie, just modified to be withered. Like, why would Blumhouse do that? Why would they destroy these animatronics? But the thing is, if that scenario is true, with the Withered Classic animatronics actually being in the movie, then would Blumhouse destroy the animatronics from the first movie just to make room for the budgets for the other Hoax animatronics, the Easter egg animatronics, and Withered Golden Freddy? Would they do that? Now, off the top of my head, I don't think they did, because the animatronics would have been on display during the time they were making the Withered animatronics. They might even be still on display. I don't think they are. I don't know. If you guys know what happened to them, please let me know. I think they might be in storage. They might have been used. They probably were used in the FNAF 2 movie in some flashback scenes, and they might even be used in the third movie, so I don't think they would have destroyed the animatronics from the first movie. I really don't think they would. But if you guys had the choice, if you had a certain budget, would you cut out the Withered Classic animatronics from the movie? Would you just reuse the first movie animatronics with no changes, or make new costumes for them? Or would you repurpose those same animatronics from the first movie and make them the Withered Classics? What would you do? So let me know what you do in the comments, and remember that you're doing this in order to get the Hoax animatronics, the Easter egg animatronics, and Withered Golden Freddy into the movie. The more you cut the costs on the Withered Classics would mean the more Hoax animatronics and Easter egg animatronics you could create and put into the FNAF 2 movie. I don't know, maybe they could get away with just using the first movie animatronics with no damage at all, since we didn't really see them get damaged at all in the first movie, so maybe they could just say that their bodies were like paralyzed or something, I don't know, but the budgets and all that might make it so they just couldn't make Withered Golden Freddy. But Withered Golden Freddy is such an important character in FNAF 2. He's one of the main animatronics. He's not some side Easter egg character. He's one of the main characters. So I still think there is a chance that they did him, because he's such an important character in FNAF 2. And compared to the other Easter egg characters who play very minor roles in the original FNAF 2, or like the Hoax animatronics who weren't even real, I have a feeling that Withered Golden Freddy, they'd probably push for him more. So I really hope they didn't sacrifice Golden Freddy, and I don't think they would, unless it was really worth it for someone like Circus Baby or like the Mimic or something. Now, I want to have a quick discussion on the effect that Withered Golden Freddy appearing or not will have on the FNAF 2 movie. What effect would Withered Golden Freddy have on the FNAF 2 movie? And what effect would the first movie, Classic Golden Freddy, have on the FNAF 2 movie? The main thing is they'd have to explain why that design. So if it's Withered Golden Freddy, it's probably going to have to be the same reason as the Withereds. And the thing is, we don't know how the Withereds are going to be handled. Are they the same animatronics from the first movie or not? We don't know. In the second trailer, we see the blueprints for the classic designs, and they're labeled as version 3.0. Now, we don't know what version 1.0 and 2.0 is. Is 1.0 the Withered animatronics, and then 2.0 the toy animatronics? Or is 2.0 the Withereds, and then 1.0 is just an older version of the classic designs with the same costume or very similar costumes, and just with different tech or something? Again, what I was saying before with the Withered Classics and the budget stuff, if 1.0 really is an early version of the classics, then that's another set of animatronics they would have to make for the movie. Unless they just don't show them at all, or just only show their parts. And I doubt they would use CGI like they did with Spring Bonnie in the first movie to alter the existing animatronics and make them the 1.0 classics design. If it's like Spring Bonnie and it's just a photograph, then maybe I could see them doing it. But even making the parts or just the suits to swap out, it's pretty much impossible. Again, it's really unlikely that the Withered Classic animatronics are going to be made, so I don't think they would do them. I don't think this is the case. And just by the feel of these blueprints, it makes me feel like these are different animatronics entirely. I don't know if these blueprints are going to be used to upgrade or downgrade the animatronics at all. I really don't know, because it just feels like that these are for two separate entire different endoskeletons and all that. Like with Endo 1 and Endo 2 is completely separate. in this universe, the movie universe, they are completely separate designs with different functionalities. They are separate animatronics. This is just the gut feeling I have, but I don't know. I'll probably do another full video talking about these designs and maybe the newspapers and all that. But another good guess I have is that maybe Abby, since she misses her friends, the classic FNAF 1 animatronics, she goes back to that location, finds the animatronics in a really bad state, and then she takes them to the other FNAF 2 location, and then fixes them up using the parts in that location. What could be the 2.0 designs, the 2.0 blueprints. She could be using those parts to fix up those animatronics and changes them into the Withereds, and she just fails miserably. And because of the modifications, the animatronics go rogue and attack her again, and Mike again, and all that. So let's assume this was what happens. Now, applying this to Withered Golden Freddy, that would mean Abby would find Golden Freddy as a physical suit damaged, and then bring him over to the FNAF 2 location physically, and then repair him physically into Withered Golden Freddy. Do you think that would take away from the mystery that Golden Freddy had in the FNAF 1 movie? What I could see is Golden Freddy kind of tagging along, he's just there, broken up, and then he disappears, and then as Abby's taking them to the FNAF 2 location, I'm not sure how she would do that. Maybe she just puts them on a car or something, gets someone else to drive, or maybe uses a taxi again, or maybe they just walk there or something, I don't know. And then just Golden Freddy, they see Golden Freddy, like, at the bus stop, and then the bus passes, and then he disappears or something, he kind of tags along, and then he repairs himself, kind of like that. I think I could see that happening. Will they have Withered Golden Freddy just appear with the design change, no explanation at all, try and keep him more mysterious again? Will they just do that? But to have classic Golden Freddy transform into Withered Golden Freddy, it would be hard to just not remove the mystery that he had in the first movie. That's the main thing. It is possible, but it would be very hard, and I just don't know if Blumhouse will do it or not. But then again, they could also try and expand on Golden Freddy and try and keep a balance of giving us new information about Golden Freddy through him becoming Withered Golden Freddy. They could try and give us more lore clues as to who Golden Freddy is in the movie universe through that process, I don't know. Whereas if they just use Golden Freddy, it's going to be very easy to just do whatever they want with him. They just won't have to worry about trying to not give too much away about how Golden Freddy interacts with the world around him and all that. Now, let's go into the idea that the classic animatronics are separate from the Withereds. They're completely separate animatronics. The Withereds were abandoned in the FNAF 2 location, along with the toys, and that's kind of why you can see them just deactivated sitting down in the trailer. That would mean Withered Golden Freddy would be separate from classic Golden Freddy. Now, I don't know how they would do that. Would both versions appear separately in the movie as separate animatronics? Would Withered Golden Freddy be possessed by another kid like the Crying Child, aka William Afton's child in that universe? Or would they use these two versions of Golden Freddy being separate to their advantage and pull a twist where we think Withered Golden Freddy is the same animatronic from the first movie, but it turns out that it's actually just a regular costume with a prototype endoskeleton hidden deep inside with coil eyes? There's many different ways they could put Golden Freddy in this movie, Withered or Classic. There's many different ways they could portray him. I think they definitely could write Withered Golden Freddy into the movie. They definitely could. Now, if you have FNAF 2 Withered Golden Freddy, it'd be very hard to not mention the Giant Head. How would they do the Giant Head? Will Withered Golden Freddy just appear as the Giant Head, and in the rest of the movie he'll appear in the classic form? Will they do the Giant Head but just use the classic design? And then on top of that, we gotta account Fredbear for all this. What does Fredbear look like? Is he the Freddy torture chair? Is he Withered Golden Freddy? Is he classic Golden Freddy? Does he look more in line with Spring Bonnie? It's like a Springlock suit? Is Golden Freddy a Springlock suit? Are they the same? And I mean, are they same in not only in the sense, are they the same character? Is Golden Freddy Fredbear? But are they the same suit? Are there multiple Golden Freddys? Is there multiple Fredbear suits? Oh my goodness, I'm going insane. It's so confusing. There's so many layers to Withered Golden Freddy, Fredbear, all this. Now I see why Matt Pat went crazy with Golden Freddy and all his thumbnails and Fredbear and all that. Gee, there's so many layers, guys. There's so many different things they could do. The thing is, I don't know if they're going to go with the complex route or they're just going to do the simple route and just make it very simple to understand. And there's more to this as well. You know who else we got to count for? A purple friend. The purple guy animatronic, of course. Now, assuming that the FNAF 2 movie is going to have the purple guy animatronic Hoax, although he is based off Withered Golden Freddy, assuming Withered Golden Freddy is not in the movie, I think it's still likely that the purple guy animatronic will appear in the movie. Because he's just going to be reusing Withered Golden Freddy's body, which is the same pretty much as Withered Freddy, so his body is the only thing that connects him to Withered Golden Freddy, unlike Shadow Freddy, our other purple friend. I've already talked about Shadow Freddy being in the FNAF 2 movie in my FNAF 2 cameo prediction video, so I'll leave a link to that. But I'm going to quickly touch on him again, but I want to talk about, will they use two separate suits or not? Maxine being stuffed into Shadow Freddy in the first movie just complicates this thing so much more, because you can't have him be physically repaired into Shadow Freddy in the withered version. You can't do that, really. He can't physically appear as a thing, really. So the only way I could see them really doing withered Shadow Freddy is, one, Withered Golden Freddy has to appear in the movie, because it wouldn't make sense to do Withered Shadow Freddy but not Withered Golden Freddy. It just doesn't make sense, like I talked about in the other video. And Withered Golden Freddy appearing in the FNAF 2 movie is already up in the air, so that just adds another layer of complexity. But then after that, going back into what I was talking about with Withered Golden Freddy and regular classic Golden Freddy before, Withered Shadow Freddy would either have to be very mysterious and just a hallucination that just appears. Maybe Maxine just transforms from classic Shadow Freddy into the withered version, I don't know. But he wouldn't be a physical suit, he would not be real. It's either that, or he's a separate suit as well, and then he'd be a separate character from Maxine, and then have someone like Henry Emily's son and brother of Charlie, Sammy Emily, from the novel trilogy appear as Shadow Freddy and be stuffed in that suit. Or maybe have Withered Shadow Freddy just be a costume worn by that prototype endoskeleton. Or have him be a dead night guard fueled by agony with a powerful orb and be named Nightmare. Would they explain the design change as just being a form that the spirit takes on, like what people say Cassidy / Golden Freddy does in the games, like taking after the Freddy that's currently at the location with like classic Freddy, with Golden Freddy being fixed in the first game, just keep it mysterious, no explanation. Now the last thing I want to touch on is, if Withered Golden Freddy does appear in the FNAF 2 movie, what eye / endoskeleton head will he have? Will he have the very visible damaged left eye and then the right eye be the black and blue design like the first FNAF movie? Or will they make it more accurate to the second game where he just has no eyes at all? Or will they give him the one glowing pupil like that one merch render? My best guess is that they would want to do what they did with the first movie and make Golden Freddy different from regular Freddy, so they would have Withered Golden Freddy with the first movie eyes. And if they do that, that would also mean that Withered Golden Freddy is the same Golden Freddy as the classic version that we saw in the first movie. It would confirm that they are the same, that's the thing. If they are different, then I think they would most likely make it accurate to FNAF 2 and just leave it blank, no head at all, really. So overall, do I think Withered Golden Freddy will appear in the FNAF 2 movie? I still don't know 100% sure. I'm kind of 50-50. I think it's possible. I really hope he does, but that leak, man, the leak tells me he might not, but again, I'm not sure if that's reliable, but then it was paired with leaks that turned out to be true, so I don't know. I really hope he does, but I have a feeling he won't, unfortunately. But, I don't know, I keep swaying either way, so that's why I'm saying 50-50, but it's more like 75% I think he won't, 25% I think he will, or around there, maybe 65 or something, I don't know. But that's it for this video. If you haven't checked out my FNAF movie cameo video predictions, please check that one out, and I will also be doing a future video again on the newspaper and the blueprints, talking about them, going into further detail than I did here. Alright, so that's it, bye.